This summer is full of Cuphead content, with the Delicious Last Course DLC out, and Drop 2 of the Cuphead show coming August 19th. So as we play the DLC and wait for the second drop, we decided to explore an important question. If the Cuphead show characters had Pokemon, which ones would they have on their team? That's what we're answering today. I'm Kyle with Wicked Binge, and these are the Pokemon that each Cuphead show character would choose. Now, real quick before we begin, I have to mention our new Pokemon channel, PokeBinge. If you love Pokemon and our usual binge formats, you should definitely check it out. We've got Pokemon Good to Evil videos, Weak to Powerful videos, and more. We're even doing card openings and monthly contests. So if it sounds cool, do me a huge favor and go check it out. Link in the description. Now, small spoiler warning, we will be bringing up some plot points, so if you haven't watched Drop 1 yet, this is your spoiler warning. Let's start off with the titular character himself, Cuphead. For a starter Pokemon, we felt that based on his red-hot personality, a fire type would suit him best. So we chose Chimchar. Chimchar, like Cuphead, is agile and almost always in high spirits, perfect for joining Cuphead when causing or running from trouble. Speaking of trouble, and make it double, 3 other Pokemon on Cuphead's team were chosen based on that: Scraggy, Rufflet, and Bagon. The first 2 have Pokedex entries that describe them as reckless and going headfirst into situations or challenges, just like Cuphead. As for Bagon, it has the ability Rockhead, which prevents it from getting recoil damage. In other words, it can get back up when it gets knocked down. Having team members that can get into a scrap and get back up again are exactly the companions Cuphead needs. Also, Scraggy looks like it's pulling up its pants, similar to what Cuphead does before playing Soul Ball, which of course is a reference to his animation before battle in the game. But besides trouble, it's very clear Cuphead likes anything with sugar. So Swirlix, a Pokemon made to look like cotton candy, would be a must-have. Finally, based on the strong bond between Cuphead and his brother, we wanted to give them matching Pokemon, so we chose Plusle for Cuphead, known for cheering on its partner, similar to how we've seen Cuphead cheer on his brother. With Cuphead's team done, let's move on to Mugman's team. His starter would be a water type to match his calmer, more sensical personality, so we chose Sobble. Sobble has a scared, timid nature and tends to stay away from danger, very similar to Mugman. However, like how Mugman is learning to be more brave, Sobble gets braver as it evolves. On the note of trying to avoid danger, it's the same reason why we'd have a Wimpod and a female Nidoran. Wimpod is cowardly and flees at the sight of danger, also like Mugman, and as for Nidoran, it doesn't like to fight but can still protect itself when needed. To show off more of Mugman's nurturing side, he would have a Togepi. Mugman clearly loves to take care of things, as we saw with Baby Bottle, the worm from Dirtnap, and just how he looks after Cuphead in general. It would totally make sense for him to find Togepi as an egg and raise it. Plus, Togepi is known to bring luck to those who take care of it, and luck is something that Mugman could use a bit more of. Next, like Cuphead had Swirlix, Mugman would also have a Pokemon that matches his sweet tooth. We know the brothers like ice cream, so Vanillite would be a great addition to Mugman's team. Finally, since Cuphead has Plusle, Mugman would get Minun. We chose for them to have matching Pokemon also because of Minun's Pokedex entry in Pokemon Emerald, which says that simultaneous exposure to electricity from a Plusle and Minun will promote circulation and boost vitality. In other words, there's a benefit from those two being together. Just like there's a benefit when Mugman is by Cuphead's side, especially through his protective hug. With the Cup brothers done, it's on to Miss Chalice. Since Cuphead and Mugman have a fire and water starter respectively, it only makes sense that Miss Chalice would have a grass starter, so we thought that Rowlet would be the best choice, not only because it knows how to sneak up on targets, but because its final evolution, Decidueye, is also a ghost type, and as a spirit, Miss Chalice would probably like the company. Next, if there's anything about Miss Chalice's personality, she likes to use her charm and talent to get whatever she wants, so she'd need Pokemon that can help her with that. For distraction, Mime Jr. and Oricorio Pom-Pom style would be great for that. Mime Jr., according to the Pearl Pokedex, likes places where people gather. It mimics foes to confuse them, then makes its getaway, very similar to how Miss Chalice gives them the slip. Plus, Mime Jr. can eventually become Mr. Rime, a Pokemon with tap dancing skills. As for Oricorio, like Miss Chalice, it cheers people up through its dancing, and then electrocutes them when their guard is down. And for those wondering, cheerleading and pom-poms existed in the 1930s, so Oricorio wouldn't look out of place. To help with the actual stealing, Purloin and Klefki are great for the job. Purloin, just like Miss Chalice, uses its cuteness to steal from people and get away with it. As for Klefki, it really likes to steal keys, which would be very helpful if there's a need to break into a place. For her final team member, since there's so much mystery surrounding Miss Chalice, she would also definitely have a Pokemon that's just as mysterious, like Cosmog. Plus, this Pokemon, well, Ultra Beast to be more exact, is also known to get itself into trouble a lot, and when it does, it teleports itself away, almost like how Miss Chalice flees the cookie factory to avoid the cops. Like Miss Chalice, her team turns up the charm with their cuteness to get what they want. Moving on to Elder Kettle. First of all, he is a war veteran of some sort, if his medals, helmet, and sword aren't a big clue, so he'd have some Pokemon that most likely had helped him during his fighting days. Those Pokemon would be Aegislash, Sirfetch'd, and Escavalier. All three have, or is, a sword, and are known for detecting leadership and being noble in battle, so they would have been great on the battlefield. Next, he would probably have a Drampa, an Elder Pokemon for an Elder Kettle. It's generally gentle and takes care of kids, which would definitely be a big help in raising Cuphead and Mugman, but will also go on the offense if the children it's caring for are in danger. While we haven't seen Elder Kettle go protective mode for the Cup Bros yet, it doesn't seem out of character for him to do so. Though Drampa matches Elder Kettle's more gentle side, a Galarian Darmanitan would fit his more tempered side. While its regular form is calm, when it gets enraged, it goes into Zen mode, where it unleashes its fiery anger. Elder Kettle is known to blow some steam when he gets angry, so it would be a good fit. And lastly, since Elder Kettle owns a goat, he'd probably have a goat Pokemon like a goat. A team probably not as fit for battle as they were back in the glory days, but still a force to be reckoned with, just like Elder Kettle himself. Now on to boxing duo Ribby and Croaks, who have 3 Pokemon each. First, since they are frogs, it would make sense for them to have frog fighting types. So Ribby gets Poliwrath, and Croaks gets Toxicroak. Now, since they are boxers, they'd most likely have Pokemon that are themed around boxing and like to fight. So Ribby would get Hitmonchan and Crabominable, while Croaks would have Crawdaunt and Graplocked. All 4 of these Pokemon are known for pummeling without thinking, and always willing to test their skills, which fit Ribby and Croaks perfectly. Moving on to the Root Pack, Sal Spud, Ollie Onion, and Chauncey Carrot. Like with Ribby and Croaks, their team is split where each vegetable gets 2 Pokemon. Starting with Sal, he'd have a Dugtrio, a ground type, which makes sense since potatoes grow in the ground. Plus, Dugtrio does kinda look like 3 potatoes. And Sal would also have an Appleton, because, fun fact, the French word for potato directly translates to apple of the earth. Next is Ollie, who would have a Gloom, which is known for its stench, and a Whismur, which has ear-shattering sobs when it's upset. Put a stinky plant and crying together, and you get an onion. Finally, Chauncey would have a Parasect, because like Chauncey, it drains nutrients from plants, just like how the Root Pack drained all the water from Elder Kettle's garden. And would also have a Moritome, because like Chauncey, it enters gardens just to cause trouble. Moving on to Porkrind, his team would help him run the shop and make sure customers stay in line. He'd have a Grumpig, known for its manipulation, a trait of someone who runs a black market, plus, you know, it's a pig. He'd also have a Pangoro, a fighting type, not only because it could threaten cheeky customers, but because it's also quick to anger, just like Porkrind. And finally, he'd also have an Emboar, because it's another pig. Next we have Henchman. He would definitely have a team that would assist in his duties to the devil. Dusk Noir, which returns lost souls, could help make sure all the souls the devil collects are kept track of. Indeedee, the male form, would also be a good addition, because Indeedee's role is to look after its master, and Henchman definitely takes care of the devil. Lastly, Henchman doesn't seem to be a very violent person, so he'd probably have a Wobbuffet, which doesn't attack first and instead just reflects attacks. Now we get to Stickler. Being someone who has to keep count and track of all the souls the devil has collected, would benefit from a team that are smart and have good memory. So Alakazam's infinite memory and Slowking's intelligence would be perfect. And we can't forget the graveyard ghosts Jasper, Emma, and Duke, who would each have ghost types. Jasper would have a Gourgeist, because both torment people by their spooky singing. With a similar mindset, Emma has a Mismagius, also known to torment people. Plus, it's the evolution of Mischievous, who enjoys scaring people, just like Emma. And then Duke would get a Trevenant because Duke's design includes a wood saw on his head, and Trevenant is a tree. And then real quickly, Sherman and Doris, two dogs, would also get dog Pokemon. Sherman would get a Stoutland because it's a large dog, and as for Doris, her sassy attitude needs a sassy companion, so she would definitely have a Furfrou. The second to last character we have to go over is King Dice. As the Devil's number one, well, was his number one, it would make sense for him to have at least one rare Pokemon, so he would have a Blacephalon. According to the Ultramoon Pokedex, it causes explosions, then takes advantage of opponents' surprise to rob them of their vitality. Obviously, King Dice doesn't use explosions, but he uses his talent and charisma to lure the audience into a sense of false security, so when they're taken to the prize room and get their souls sucked out, they never see it coming. Next, King Dice would definitely want a team that is just as talented and cunning as he is. A Mr. Mime with its miming skills would match with King Dice's con skills, as would an Alolan Persian, which is known for playing dirty. Then, King Dice's singing and dancing skills enthralls the audience, so Pokemon like Altaria, that's known for its beautiful singing, and Roserade with its enticing dancing, would help lower the audience's guard even more. Finally, King Dice has style, so Galarian Weezing's dashing looks with a top hat are perfect for his last pick. And finally, we arrive at the king of the underworld, the Devil himself. His main Pokemon would be a Galarian Moltres. Not only is it an intimidating legendary bird, but it has an aura that consumes spirits, very useful for soul collecting. And continuing with that soul collecting, he'd also have a Chandelure that absorbs spirits with its flames, and a Mega Gengar that takes any lives that come near it. But the Devil doesn't only like collecting souls. He also enjoys causing chaos and destruction in general, and having a Hydreigon and a Tyrantrum are just the destructive Pokemon he needs. Hydreigon is known for destroying everything in its path, including villages, which is probably one of the Devil's favorite pastimes. Tyrantrum, on the other hand, has strong destructive jaws that can crush pretty much anything, and on top of that, according to the Alpha Sapphire Pokedex, nothing could stop this Pokemon 100 million years ago, so it behaved like a king. The Devil has also most likely been around a long time.
We're having our most productive year in a millennia.
And nobody has been able to stop him yet, though Cuphead and Mugman seem to be getting close. Finally, the Devil is a pure evil character, so he'd also have a Spiritomb, made up of the most nefarious spirits, a perfectly evil team for the most evil character in the Inkwell Isles. But let us know in the comments section what you think of our Cuphead Pokemon teams, and tell us what Pokemon you think would make the best picks for these characters. Make sure to hit that notification bell, and if you want to binge more Pokemon content, make sure to check out our PokeBinge channel. We've got a ton of videos in the works over there. But most importantly, stay wicked.